What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. In our first news, Belal Muhammad has once again called out Kamaru Usman, accusing the former champion of avoiding him ever since a heated moment between them took place during the recording of Usman's own podcast. According to Belal, things got tense on the set of Pound for Pound when he ended up slapping Usman during the show. What's even more interesting is that the episode featuring Belal has still never been released, something he believes speaks volumes about how uncomfortable that moment made Usman. Belal said that at this point in his career, he only wants to fight contenders who are right next in line for the title, and Usman was the perfect opponent. He reminded everyone that Usman had even weighed in as a backup for the title fight, which made him the logical next challenge. But despite that, Belal says Usman is staying silent, injured, and inactive. He pointed out that Usman has gone 1-3 in his last 4 fights and seems to be talking a big game instead of backing it up inside the octagon. Belal went on to say that their tension started on that podcast episode when he slapped Usman, and since then, the former champ hasn't said a word about it. He added that anyone would want to get revenge after being slapped, especially on their own show, but the fact that Usman didn't do anything about it just proves he's avoiding him. Belal claimed that Usman knows the slap landed hard and that he realizes it's simply a bad matchup for him. Belal didn't hold back, saying that for a man to get slapped during his own podcast and then refuse to air it or even talk about it shows what kind of person he really is. He called Usman a coward and said that it's clear he doesn't want that smoke. According to Belal, the situation showed him everything he needed to know about Usman's mindset, and now he's ready to move on and focus on bigger opportunities in the division. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to help support the channel. Moving on to another news, Ciryl Gane has just sent a bold warning to Tom Aspinall, making it clear that his wrestling and grappling have improved massively and that people are seriously underestimating him. In a recent interview, Gane revealed that he's been working relentlessly on the area many fans once considered his biggest weakness, his ground game. He said that his loss to Jon Jones taught him valuable lessons, and now he's using that experience to fuel his comeback and chase the heavyweight title with full force. This fight has everyone talking, especially because of the potential for it to go beyond the first round. Gane has already proven several times that he can maintain a high pace for 5 rounds, striking beautifully, moving with precision, and controlling distance better than almost anyone in the division. Aspinall, on the other hand, has yet to be truly tested over the full championship distance. Even Tom himself has admitted that this fight could go deep into the later rounds. Acknowledging Gane's slick movement, fight IQ, and excellent cardio, it's worth noting that Gane's last performance wasn't particularly dominant. He barely edged out a close decision win over Alex Volkov, a fight many fans felt could have gone the other way. However, Gane insists that he's learned from every setback and continues to evolve. He now feels more complete than ever, both mentally and technically, and he's determined to prove that his grappling can no longer be dismissed. In the interview, Gane confidently stated, "I can do both. I can fight like a dog in the very first round, but I can also go 5 rounds. I'm not going to explain my tactic or my game plan, but whatever happens, I'll be ready for it. I'm going to be present, fully focused, and I'm prepared for everything." Like you say, he's a well-rounded fighter, but me too. Me too. When asked who would have the advantage if the fight went to the ground, Gane addressed the long-standing criticism of his wrestling. He said, "People like to say I'm not good on the ground, but I've only lost once, and that was against Jon Jones. I made a mistake in that fight, but that's not something I do anymore. People underestimate my ground game, but I'm never afraid to go there. I've said it in every interview. I know what I'm doing in training." Gane explained that since the loss to Jones, he's spent countless hours improving his wrestling and grappling under some of the best coaches in Europe. He believes fans will see a completely different version of him this time, sharper, tougher, and far more confident on the mat. As the heavyweight clash with Tom Aspinall approaches, Gane's words serve as both a promise and a warning. He's no longer just the slick striker. He's a complete mixed martial artist ready to prove that he can dominate anywhere the fight goes. Moving on to another news, Khabib was seen playfully scolding Usman Nurmagomedov after he showed up with a cup of coffee, but only for himself. The lighthearted exchange was caught on video, giving fans another glimpse of the funny and brotherly relationship between the two. As Khabib noticed Usman holding his coffee, he jokingly called him out for not bringing one for his coach as well. With a playful grin, Khabib asked, "Where is my coffee? Why do you think only about yourself?" The moment had everyone around laughing as Usman tried to explain himself. Khabib, keeping a serious tone just for fun, pointed to Usman's drink and said, "This is real coffee, but he never brings coffee for me. Who is this coach? You think I don't deserve one?" The room burst into laughter again as Usman could only smile, realizing he had walked right into a classic Khabib moment. Someone nearby joined the fun, saying, "Never say never," to which Khabib quickly replied, "One day, you'll bring me coffee." Usman laughed and promised, "One day, I'll bring you coffee." The energy between the two was light, showing the respect and bond that has always existed inside the team. Khabib wasn't done teasing, though. He joked about Usman's car being parked outside, saying, "Find his car outside. That's why I think he's not here." When Usman tried to reply, Khabib continued, "It's not your problem, we're outside." "Outside, don't come inside." The group laughed again, enjoying the back and forth banter. Khabib finally smiled and ended the moment by saying, "But I need it," hinting once more that he was still waiting for his coffee. Fans loved seeing this side of Khabib, playful, humble, and full of humor. Despite being known as one of the most dominant champions in UFC history, he's never lost his easygoing nature when surrounded by teammates. His friendship with Usman goes beyond fighting. It's a mix of mentorship, respect, and genuine camaraderie. Usman, who continues to make his own mark in Bellator, has often spoken about how much he's learned from Khabib both inside and outside the gym. Moments like these show that behind the intense training and serious competition, there's also warmth, laughter, and brotherhood that keeps the Dagestani team united. Moving on to another news, Umar Nurmagomedov has officially responded to Merab ahead of his upcoming fight against Mario Bautista at UFC 321. Umar is set to make his return to the octagon this weekend, looking to bounce back strong after suffering a tough loss to Merab in their previous meeting. During media day, Umar addressed Merab's recent comments where he claimed that Umar needs multiple wins before he can even think about another title shot. But Umar clearly wasn't impressed by those remarks, suggesting that Merab's words are more about fear than facts. When asked about Merab's attitude, Umar noted that every time his name comes up, Merab seems to get defensive or even angry. Umar said that if you were to ask Merab, he'd probably say that Umar needs to fight 10 more times before earning a rematch, even joking that Merab might keep moving the goalposts until retirement. Umar calmly pointed out that Merab can say whatever he wants, but the reality will be very different when they meet again. He said that Merab's opinion doesn't change the truth about what happened in their first fight or what would happen in a rematch. Reporters pressed further, asking Umar if he believes Merab's reaction comes from the fact that their first fight was one of the toughest of Merab's career. Umar agreed, saying that everyone saw how close that fight really was. He said it's obvious that Merab knows the rematch wouldn't go the same way. According to Umar, Merab is trying to avoid the topic because, deep down, he realizes how competitive that first bout was, and how much harder it would be to face him again. Umar explained that it's funny to him how Merab keeps talking about rankings and winning streaks when everyone knows what really happened inside the cage. He said that people can see through the excuses, and that Merab's frustration only proves how much that fight still bothers him. Despite Merab's attempts to dismiss him, Umar remains confident and focused on his comeback. He's determined to put on a dominant performance against Bautista this weekend, and remind everyone why he's still one of the most dangerous contenders in the bantamweight division. Moving on to another news, Ben Askren recently paid tribute to his longtime coach, Duke Roufus, who unexpectedly passed away last week. The MMA community was deeply saddened by the news, and Ben took a moment to share some heartfelt words about the man who played such an important role in his career and personal life. Ben said he lost his longtime MMA coach, Duke Roufus, and while trying to think of a mental Monday message about it, he struggled to find the perfect one. But what stood out to him most was how Duke was always welcoming to anyone who wanted to come to the gym. Ben reflected on how that simple but powerful trait defined Duke's character. He said many younger Americans today might miss out on understanding the true value of helping others, but Duke embodied it every single day. According to Ben, Duke never turned anyone away. Whether it was kids just starting out in MMA, young fighters learning to believe in themselves, or professionals chasing their dreams, Duke gave everyone his time, energy, and belief. He was that rare kind of coach who didn't just build fighters, he built people. Ben emphasized that helping others can truly make life better, saying, "I can't tell you how much better your life will get if you just start helping people." For Duke, that help came through coaching, mentoring, and caring for everyone who stepped into his gym. He wasn't just shaping fighters physically, he was inspiring them mentally and emotionally, pushing them to see their potential and never give up on themselves. Ben's words carried a tone of gratitude and deep respect. He ended his tribute by saying, "Rest in peace, Duke. You really did a great job with me and so many others." "Thank you, Duke." It was clear from his voice that the loss hit him hard, as he admitted he almost got emotional while speaking. Duke Roufus's impact on the sport, and especially on those he trained, will be remembered for a long time. Moving on to another news, Ciryl Gane has made it clear that he's more than open to facing Alex Pereira in the future. During the UFC Media Day, Gane was asked about Pereira, but there was a bit of confusion when he thought the reporter was talking about fighting Alex at the White House if he beats Tom Aspinall this weekend. Once he realized what was actually being asked, Gane laughed and confidently said that of course he'd be interested in fighting Alex. Gane explained that Pereira is a true warrior and one of the most dangerous strikers in the sport, and that makes the idea of facing him extremely exciting. He said that in MMA, anything can happen, and that's exactly what makes this sport so unpredictable and beautiful. When the reporter brought up a potential Pereira versus Jon Jones fight, Gane didn't hesitate to say that Alex absolutely has a chance to beat Jon. According to Gane, every fight is its own battle, and even though Jon is one of the greatest of all time, Pereira's striking power and mentality make him a real threat to anyone in the octagon. He said that if Alex ends up fighting Jon, it would be a true clash between warriors, and that he believes 100% anything is possible. Gane also admitted that he would personally love to face Pereira someday, calling it one of the biggest possible fights in the heavyweight or light heavyweight division. He added that he respects what Pereira has achieved in such a short time, going from kickboxing to becoming a two-division UFC champion, and that kind of success deserves recognition. Gane wrapped up by saying that if he gets through Tom Aspinall, then a matchup with Pereira could be a dream fight for both the fans and the UFC. He said he's always ready to test himself against the best, and that Pereira represents exactly that challenge. For Gane, it's all about legacy, and a fight with Alex Pereira would be another step toward proving he belongs among the very best in the world. Moving on to another news, the middleweight division has been thrown into chaos yet again, as Khamzat faces new accusations of steroid use following his recent fight with Duplessis. The claims came from Merab's coach, Ray Longo, who openly accused Khamzat of using performance-enhancing drugs while training under his new strength and conditioning coach, Sam Calavita. UFC commentator John Anik also weighed in on the discussion, admitting that the situation was intriguing and worth paying attention to, especially given the history surrounding Calavita's camp. The topic came up during a segment analyzing the middleweight title picture and Khamzat's dominant run inside the octagon. Longo didn't hold back, pointing out that Khamzat deliberately chose to train with the same team once associated with TJ Dillashaw, the very camp that became infamous after Dillashaw's EPO scandal following his fight with Henry Cejudo. According to Longo, this was far from a coincidence. He highlighted how Khamzat now looks more muscular and physically imposing than ever, suggesting that something more than just hard work and natural genetics could be responsible for his incredible physique and conditioning. Longo continued, saying, "It's interesting that someone told me he's working with Dillashaw's strength coach." Anik confirmed, "Yeah, Coach Cal," Longo responded sarcastically. "Yeah, what a gem he is. I mean, come on, what a bunch of cheating men. Good luck to you. If Khamzat couldn't figure that out, then that's the first bad sign." He went on to say that he'd have Khamzat triple tested before his next fight, suggesting that the fighter's size and sudden muscle growth were too significant to ignore. "The guy's already huge," Longo said. "Now they're going to jack him up on something else? That's going to be a problem." As the discussion continued, Longo expressed frustration at how naive some fans are about PED use in MMA. "Guys, I know what's going on out there. You think everybody's clean? You're really misinformed," he said. He emphasized that out of all the strength coaches available, Khamzat chose to work with one who has a proven connection to doping scandals. "There are a lot of strength guys out there," Longo said, "and he goes to the one with the exact track record we're talking about. That's not an accident. It's the art of war, I guess. A pretty interesting choice to make." John and Nick agreed that the situation raised questions, commenting that it was definitely an intriguing angle, especially considering Khamzat's history of stamina issues following his past viral infection. Some analysts speculated that he might be using EPO to help with endurance and recovery. Meanwhile, Khamzat's team has remained silent, refusing to comment on the accusations. Despite the controversy, Khamzat continues to dominate the middleweight division, steamrolling opponents and moving closer to undisputed champion status. Still, the allegations have stirred intense debate across the MMA community, with fans and analysts divided on whether the improvements are natural or enhanced. For now, the story continues to unfold, and it's clear this conversation isn't dying down anytime soon. Moving on to another news, Bisping believes Alex Pereira would undoubtedly be considered the greatest fighter of all time if he beats the winner of Tom Aspinall versus Ciryl Gane. After Pereira's incredible victory over Magomed Ankalaev, where he reclaimed his title in dominant fashion, the MMA world has been buzzing about his next move. What really got everyone talking was his bold post-fight statement, where Pereira made it clear that he's only interested in fighting Jon Jones at heavyweight, not the winner of Aspinall and Gane. His reasoning was simple yet powerful. If either he or Jones were to lose, it wouldn't damage their legacies because both men are already legends of the sport. Bisping and Paul Felder discussed this idea on their latest show, calling it one of the most ambitious and exciting possibilities in MMA history. They both agreed that the thought of Pereira potentially changing his mind and fighting the winner of Aspinall versus Gane would be absolutely insane, in the best way possible. According to Bisping, if Pereira actually went up to heavyweight, fought the champion and won, then there would be no argument left to make. He would be the undisputed greatest fighter to ever step into the cage. Bisping pointed out that Pereira's rise has already been nothing short of historic. In just a few years, he's achieved what most fighters couldn't even dream of, becoming a multi-division champion in record time. But the idea of him chasing a third belt has completely taken over the MMA conversation. If Pereira were to become a 3-division world champion, something no one has ever done, Bisping said the debate would be finished. The conversation about who the GOAT is would be officially over. During their discussion, Bisping emphasized that it wouldn't even matter who held the heavyweight title. Whether it's Tom Aspinall, Ciryl Gane, or anyone else, the achievement itself would be unmatched. Felder agreed, saying that if you win at middleweight, then move up to light heavyweight, win again, and then capture the heavyweight title, you're solidified as the biggest legend in the history of the sport. He added that it wouldn't matter if the champion was someone like Derek Lewis. If Pereira stepped into that cage and knocked out another top contender to claim a third belt, he'd go down as the greatest ever. They even joked about how exciting a matchup between Tom Aspinall and Derek Lewis would be, with Bisping laughing that Lewis could knock out anybody if he lands clean. But in the end, they both circled back to the same point. If Alex Pereira were to move up and win a third world title, the conversation about greatness would be finished. No debates, no comparisons, just one name standing above all others: Pereira, the ultimate legend of mixed martial arts.